Welcome back to Oppositional Forces, everyone. I am your host, Scotty Don't, and today we're talking about situational awareness. So, to cover situational awareness, we're actually going to go into a situation. I'm walking down the street in Sarasota, and we're going to work with what we have. Now, when you're walking around on the street, you want to be aware of everything that you're doing. And so as I do this on camera, I'm going to try to explain just the very simple basics of utilizing situational awareness, how to keep your eyes peeled for everything, that could take place within sight or hearing. Rule number one, when you are walking down the street, stay off your phone. Now, I know this sounds counterintuitive as a guy who's holding a phone in front of his face, but ultimately what you want to be doing is working with your surroundings, not distracting yourself from being alert. As you're walking down the street, you want to be able to keep in mind that what happens in front of you and what happens behind you change every few steps. Keeping in mind the importance of maintaining, a good accounting of what goes on around you. You don't want to look back paranoid. You don't want to make abrupt turns. You can be subtle. You can utilize the reflections in the store windows. Or you could casually glance behind you as you go along. Maybe somebody called your name. Maybe somebody is working with, some loud machinery or something that you can pretend to be paying attention to. Transiting in an urban environment requires a little bit of mental acuity. You don't want to leave yourself open as a target for attack. You don't want to appear approachable for scammers, pickpockets, people who are trying to sell you things. They want to talk you into joining their cult. And so you have to be willing to look like you know where you're going and what you're doing. Maintain an accounting of who and what is around you the best that you can. If you're trying to maintain a certain level of situational awareness when you're out and about, the looking around, the looking behind you helps you keep almost like an inventory of the people that are around and the vehicles that are around. Now, you don't have to log them all in, but anything that stands out, anyone who's paying particular attention to you, what you're doing, is going to be something that you want to note. A good thing that you can do when you're walking around is keeping an eye on where you could find opportunities to either seek shelter, improvised weapons of opportunity, or to avoid a conflict. Being observant in an urban environment requires a little bit of practice. So it's a great idea to take a regular stroll through your local urban environment, walk your dog, take your kids for a walk, whatever the case may be. Because the better you understand the baseline of where you are, the more likely that you are to survive any change in that environment that ultimately could be a situation for danger. Consider this a type of patrol, if you will. Who are the regular players on your beat? Who are your frequent flyers? And who seems out of place? Who knows where they're going and who doesn't? When you see people regularly looking at their phone, what used to be staring at a map, they were a lot easier to spot. Nowadays, everybody's looking at their phone. And so trying to work with what is and isn't apparent can now become kind of convoluted. Maintaining a good level of situational awareness, it can save your life. People are mugged every day. It doesn't matter who you are or how you dress, how vulnerable you may look. Ultimately, if you look like an easy opportunity, you will become one. So maintaining your awareness is pivotal in making sure that whether you're traveling, whether you're in your hometown, whether you're visiting, somewhere else in your country, knowing what your baseline is, what changes you've observed, in the time that you're walking around, people that seem to show up in the same areas as you, even though you've changed venue more than once. These are things to be looking for. When passing by an area that could conceal someone, they could be hiding around a corner, you don't want to be hugging the walls. Maintain a safe distance from anything that you can't easily spot. It's never a bad idea to stay in one spot for a while and see what changes. If I hide out for a little while and just observe the area around me, do people keep walking? Do they stop? Do they dip into a store? One of the worst things that you can do when navigating an urban environment is taking back alleyways. No matter how familiar you are with the area, this is often the most utilized space for people to hide out from the general public, including law enforcement. However, alleyways are a really great place to be able to find weapons of opportunity and your own hiding spot when trying to avoid a particular situation that you may have deemed dangerous. Again, it's imperative to continue to look both in front of you and behind you to keep an account of maybe who also follows you down the alleyway, or if you're starting to see the same faces of the same cars on either end of the street when you pop back out. Abandoned lots, abandoned buildings, and construction sites are often the best place to hide out in an escape and evasion situation, but it's the worst possible choice if you just find yourself wanting to snoop around and just see what's going on, because you're going to find other people who are also avoiding detection, usually with nefarious purposes. I hope all of this was helpful. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and let me know what you think about the new way that we're doing this.